So it's 2023 and you want to download an astrology app. Well, it only took you about 5 years, but better late than never. I'm going to tell you which one to get. All right, before we get into each of the apps, I'm going to actually end up reviewing 10 apps that are available on Apple iOS. Before we get into that, I think there are two important questions that you need to answer for yourself before you figure out what the best astrology app is for you. Because, I'm sorry to say it, and please don't exit the video because of this, but there is no one best astrology app. There is an app that is best for you, for what you're looking for, and for your experience level. So the first question that you should be asking yourself is, what is my experience level with astrology? Am I somebody that is familiar with the sun and the moon and then maybe just now starting to familiarize herself with the houses maybe, or maybe I know a lot about Aquarius because I'm Aquarius, but I know nothing about Libra, for example. Then you want to put yourself as somewhere on the beginning spectrum of astrology. We also have the intermediates. These are people that know about the houses, know about the different archetypes, and are maybe starting to get into some of the more challenging things, maybe prediction, like transits. And I think the part that distinguishes an intermediate astrologer and a beginner, or somebody that is interested in astrology at an intermediate level, with an intermediate level knowledge, is that this is the part where you start to sort of synthesize what things mean together. It's where you start to look at beyond just moon and Leo, moon and first house, and you start to take a look at how could these things fit together. Again, into the transits, like I said, all of that I think fits under a more intermediary level. And then, of course, we have an advanced student of astrology. Doesn't mean you need to know everything to be at this level. I think people study astrology for years and are still learning many new things. So what you want to focus on here is that you're comfortable with astrology and you're maybe not relying so much on interpretations. You're more learning about different methods, different chart types, and then you end up doing the interpretations and drawing the conclusions yourself. So all of the apps that I review a little bit later, I will list out what sort of level I recommend them for, so you can find the best app for you. And the second question that you should be asking yourself when it comes to determining the best astrology app for you is, why are you looking for an astrology app? What do you want out of it? Is it because you want to connect with other people that are interested in astrology? Is it because you want to learn more? Is it because you want to get a daily update on what's happening with the planets? Once you determine that, it can be quite a lot easier once we go through the list in 30 seconds to figure out right away which apps are for you and which apps are not. Of course, we all heard of CoStar. If you've heard of astrology apps, you've heard of CoStar. So let's start off with CoStar. I believe CoStar is for beginners. If you're at the beginning level, then this could potentially be the app for you. Now, in terms of what this app can actually offer for you, where I think it's quite strong is in its social feature. It makes it so addicting to add your friends to it and to compare your two charts. And this is actually one of the first ways that I originally came to know of CoStar, because all of my friends were like, oh my God, what does your chart look like? Let's compare. So if the social aspect in an app is really important to you, then this could be very well the app for you. Keep in mind that CoStar keeps the astrological jargon completely out. So if you're somebody that actually doesn't just want to know, oh, you'll be angry today, but wants to know this is because Mars is squaring your sun, then CoStar is not the app for you. I find that CoStar takes out all of the jargon, all of the astrological jargon, and just gives you a more general statement. So that could be a good thing, or it could also be a bad thing, depending on what you're looking for. Let's talk next about Nebula. So Nebula also has a really strong social feature. So if you're definitely looking to actually connect and meet new people through astrology, then Nebula is a really good app for that. Whereas CoStar is a little bit more of the people you already know, your friends, your group, and connecting to them through astrology. But if you're looking to meet new people that also love astrology, then Nebula is definitely it. In terms of your level of experience, I would say Nebula is also for beginners. What is really nice about Nebula, and what is the one thing that I would recommend it for, is actually for learning. So if you're at the beginning stage and you actually do care to know, hey, I know a lot about Aries because I am an Aries, but I don't know anything about Gemini. Let me read up about Gemini. Or every once in a while you're, bored. Nebula has a plethora of articles on different astrology topics that you could just pick one and read it while you're on the train traveling to work, for example. Third app on the list is Astroline. Astroline is a little bit difficult to categorize. I would say it's sort of on the beginner to intermediary spectrum. It does actually provide some really useful and really deep astrological knowledge. But it also has the interpretation. So if you're a beginner and you don't exactly know what they're trying to say, then there are the interpretations for you. So it's still really accessible. But for the intermediates, I think it does provide a bigger depth into actually astrology than, for example, CoStar or Nebula do. So I would say it's a little bit in between, depending on if you're a beginner that wants to be challenged and learn more. And one of the best things about Astroline is if you want to have an astrology app and have it influence or inspire a certain part of your life. So let's say you're having a hard time in your career sector. You're struggling at work, whatever. You're trying to figure out what to do, what your passion is, and your purpose. What Astroline does really nicely is they split the daily horoscope into different categories. So you can actually read what astrologically will be happening, or sort of the things you'll be feeling around your career specifically, not anything else. And I think this can create a really nice reflection and motivation cycle where every day you check in, you start to examine and start to sort of adjust on that area specifically, on that focus. They also have this for their health, for love and relationships. So you can really choose, I want to become a better partner, and really focus on the love and relationship area in the app. Finally, we have an app for advanced students, advanced astrologers, people with advanced astrology knowledge. And this is Astro Future. All of these apps starting with Astro. I know, it's a lot. So the reason why I say Astro Future is because it has very limited interpretations. So it's perfect if you're an advanced student and you maybe just want to remind yourself like, oh yeah, where is Mars today? Or, oh yeah, did the sun already enter Pisces, or is that tomorrow? Then this is perfect. This is the app that you can just go in quickly, check things out, and then close the app. All right, number 5, and then we're halfway through the list, is Time Passages. Time Passages is for those that I would say are beginner to intermediate. Actually, no, I take that back. I would say Time Passages is for an intermediary student. It does allow you to literally just go in and see what's happening in the sky, but it also does supplement that with interpretations. So I would see this as the perfect app for somebody that, again, wants to check in, hey, what is Mars doing today? You can go in this app and check that out. But maybe with certain transits, maybe you're comfortable with Mars, but when it comes to Pluto, you struggle a bit. So then those interpretations that are in there do come useful in that scenario and in that case. So this sort of nice in-between point where you can take things on your own, or you can use the interpretations that they provide, I think it makes it the perfect app for somebody that's at the intermediary level. All right, so I think all of the apps that we've gone through so far have been a little bit more on the social side, a little bit more on sort of just checking things and getting out of the app. But the next app, which is Moonly, is really unique because it's actually focused on resources. And I think this makes this app actually perfect for everybody. And the reason is because, again, the focus is on resources. The focus is on supporting you no matter what's happening astrologically, and actually inspired by what's happening astrologically. And they have so many different practices on the app. Like, I'm not even kidding. What did I write down? They have affirmations, they have tarot, they have runes, they have meditations, sound bowls, and even shadow work. All of this in one app. So if you're somebody that actually really wants to live with astrology, you really want to, at the end of the day, you were maybe feeling some type of way because Mercury was retrograde, that you can open the app, that you can do a meditation, that you can wake up in the morning with a sound bowl. This is the perfect app for that. Number 7, we have Serene. And actually, I do love how beautifully designed and simple Serene is. So if you're somebody that likes a good design of an app, then Serene is definitely for you. Let's see what I wrote for Serene. I wrote that this is the app for you if you have no time. You know, actually what I love about Serene is that they write their interpretations amazingly. I don't know if you've ever had this, but you read an interpretation and you're like, what did you just say? I do not understand a single word. And not to talk trash about CoStar, but sometimes I do have that with CoStar. Anyways, we're not talking about CoStar right now. We're talking about Serene. Serene's interpretations are amazing. They make so much sense. I get exactly what they're trying to say. And it actually sounds like really applicable and understandable to my life. This is really rare for an astrology app, definitely. Like, even I as an astrologer struggle with sometimes saying things to a client in a reading in a way that I'm like, does this actually make sense? So yes, writing is concise, very easy to understand, beautiful design. And one of the really cool things I liked in there was the visual overview that they provide, and especially the visual overview of a transit. So if you are a visual learner, then this is a great app for you. And they have this really cool visualization, which actually counts down. It tells you you have 2 days left of this transit, or you have 90 days left of this transit. And this is really unique for an app and really, really amazing. So I would put Serene somewhere in the beginner to intermediary level. Beginner if you're willing to be challenged and you actually do care about astrological terminology. And especially if you find interpretations you can never understand them, then go with Serene. Serene is your boy, your girl. Okay, next up, and this is number 8, we have Time Nomad. This is so funny. I wrote on the go for like half of these apps. Maybe it tells you how I use apps, that I just literally on the go, check, okay, close. All right, so Time Nomad. I think this is really for somebody more on the advanced level because it's quite focused on just showing you what's happening today, what's happening in a couple of weeks. And especially because they have really advanced filtering and chart options or chart types. So you can really go in and adjust things the way you want it. You can change, I think you can even change like the house system. You can get progression charts. It's big, trust me, it's for advanced astrologers. All right, we have 2 more to go. And if you still have not found the app for you, then hopefully one of these 2 is good for you. So if you're somebody that thinks that every app looks the same, then you have to go with Chani. Chani has such a cool vibe. Like, when I first opened the app, I was like, damn, that is really unique. There's this grungy, cool girl vibe to it. Amazing. Really, really nice. So Chani is actually quite similar to Moonly because it does provide an app with lots of resources. So I would say they're sort of on the same level of astrology apps. I think Chani is easily accessible for beginners, intermediates, and honestly even advanced students would appreciate this. Because again, it has different types of resources inspired by astrology, transits, whatever's happening in the sky. And what they do have on the app is affirmations, they have journal prompts, they have meditations and rituals. So this is definitely an app that you don't just check on the go and close. This is an app that you really use. And if you're looking for that, then I recommend Chani. We got to the final app. And the final app is the Pattern. I think it's actually maybe the second most known app after CoStar, or at least the one that I heard the most after CoStar. So the Pattern, I would honestly say it's for beginner to intermediary, maybe even more on the side of beginner. And it's such an interesting approach on the sort of design because they have the sort of similar feature as like Instagram stories. So definitely the app reminds me of, I don't know, it's sort of like the Instagram of astrology apps. So if you're really into, like if you're obsessed with Instagram, then the Pattern is for you. I do think it does also encourage you to be social with your friends. So in that regard, I would categorize it together with CoStar and together with Nebula. And again, this is very much more specific to people you already know. And one thing that jumped out at me about the Pattern is that there is a lot of stuff on there. And by stuff, I mean there are a lot of long explanations, long interpretations of different placements, of different planets, different houses. So if you're somebody that's just like thirsty for all the knowledge and you really, really want to read, you can read there days on end. So I would really recommend this app for somebody that is really looking to get a lot of information and a lot of writing to basically be given that from the app itself. Personally, if I was to have one app, this is difficult. I would choose Chani because of its amazing look. Like that really convinced me. But also because of the resources, I think that could be really amazing to allow myself to sort of live with astrology a little bit more. And I think I would also choose one more. Actually, if I'm allowed to, I'm going to choose one more. And I would go maybe towards Astro Future because it does allow you to just take a look at what's happening quickly and be done with it and go on with your life. I really hope this was useful to you. If you are curious to watch more, to take a look at some of the maybe resources that I have on this page, I actually do produce meditations for all of the new and full moons. So do have a look around. I would suggest watching this playlist. And of course, if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you next time.